what advantages have you seen for you? Because yours is not 6 millimeters, it's 16 millimeters.
Add another 10. But just I want to say about that kind of that click of feeling that instant balance and lightness.
Right.
It comes from your body being more efficient when it's plumb. So when it's on its plumb line, it's more efficient. If I'm leaning to the left, some of the muscles on the left side of my body are shorter. They're actually working more. It takes ATP, your body's fuel, to go to those muscles to create that shortness and keep that shortness. So that's sucking up my body's energy. So as soon as I'm plumb, already instantly my energy is improving because it's not heading to those muscles that need to stay short. And it's more efficient, not only physically, but physiologically. So my organs, intestines, everything on the left side, my stomach, my spleen, is opened up so they can operate a little more efficiently. So physiologically as well. If I have a head tilt, even my eyes have to adjust, my eye muscles, which can cause headaches. So there are all kinds of things like chain reaction effects. So being plumb means your body is actually operating more efficiently, and you will feel lighter, more energetic, you'll have more strength behind whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
But for me, it was very dramatic. I was a professional dancer in New York City for 12 years.
She's really good.
And thank you. And I don't dance anymore, but now I'm a yoga instructor, neurosomatic therapist. I also teach Pilates here in St. Pete, Florida. But in my body, I knew, being a professional dancer, I really knew how to tune in and what I was feeling symmetry-wise. I knew I was way off. All of the compensation I was doing was actually in my pelvis. There was some that went up into my upper back. It kind of skipped my low back, went up into my upper back. And there were a few spots that were constantly nagging at me. I had both hips, I had my upper back, I had a spot in my thoracic as well. These were my spots, my spots. You always have people come down, this is always tight.
And you've always been aware of your body, so you kind of notice this so easily that I wouldn't be able to.
I did. In ballet, you train at the bar every day, and I remember always standing in front of the mirror and noticing that, okay, there are a couple steps that I really felt the difference. Now, one is called a balançoire. So when I would brush my leg forward and back, standing on my long leg, my short leg never touched the ground. And this is with a completely level pelvis, so balancing in my pelvis. When I stood on my short leg, I had to hike up my hip every time it brushed through. So I knew I was compensating in my back. Then it carried on further when I did more complicated steps. So if I needed to step onto my toes on point, on the short leg, it was very easy to get up there. On the longer leg, I felt like I had to haul my body up over this longer, almost 3/4 of an inch longer, up and over. So I started feeling not only this difference of how I have to exert effort, but then I started losing my plumb line on my left side. Completely lost it. So I toured professionally for about 10 years. And in the middle of a tour, I wouldn't even be able to stand on one leg. So how am I about to do a show when I can't even just stand on one leg? I lost my body's feeling of centeredness on the long side because it was doing all this compensation to make up for it. So.
Wow. Okay, so you had a dramatic benefit in your life with it.
I had also instant relief. As soon as I was in the lift, those spots disappeared.
Okay.
Not only that, I had physical proof of changes that were happening. I had a bone spur in my shorter legs acetabulum, so that's the socket of the hip, created a bone spur in order to kind of elongate the cup or the socket to make room for this leg that was not in its proper place. It wasn't interfacing well in the joint. So as soon as I wore the lift, I got re-x-rayed about a year later, and that bone spur was gone. So I also had cartilage regeneration according to my x-ray. So I know it's hard to prove that. You don't see a lot of that research out there, but I've seen it in my x-rays. I've had 3 images now since wearing the lift, and my hips look like I'm younger, actually.
Yeah. A lot of the things, just looking from this guy's perspective, he's listening to us speaking about these things, and all of these concepts are very foreign to people. They're like, what the hell's going on? So he's like right now trying to catch up with all this. So what I want to kind of make you aware is that for science to catch up to this kind of technology, stuff that we're learning anecdotally and also factually with the little studies that have been done, it's going to take maybe, 5 to 10 more years for people to catch up and actually get these...
Embrace this, yeah.
Right, because I know that chiropractors generally haven't really paid attention to this, but now I saw a chiropractor a couple of weeks ago in Miami, and she knew about this, and I was so proud that she knows. So there are benefits. Let's show the thing. If you just tilt it a little bit, let's show this, kind of get an idea of what this is. So that's a 16 millimeter lift.
This is a 16 millimeter, and since you're looking at my feet, you can actually see a lot of the wear and tear from being a dancer. I had a bunion on the left side that was actually bigger than it is now.
Right, so this is a bunion right here. Okay, and I have it
this side, now before I was wearing the lift, it was collapsing that much. And this is how I had to balance on one leg.
Right.
So once wearing the lift, my long leg did not need to zigzag and compensate for the length.
Okay.
So I've been able to realign my foot much better, and the bunion's actually shrinking.
Does that bunion hurt you?
It actually didn't hurt me because it's flexible. I've been keeping it very flexible.
Okay. Because I'm developing one, it's not this much bulgy, it's just a little bit, and it's like on this side. But it has never hurt me. So should I care? Because I remember Sir Symmetry was telling me that the reason men have this bunion, bunion is this bulging thing coming out of this, is because we walk like this.
It can be, for sure.
Right? So you get this thing, because what you're supposed to do is walk. Can you see my feet? Yeah. What you're supposed to do, like a lot of girls do this, because now I'm not noticing how people walk, right, all the time. So what guys tend to do is walk like Donald Duck, right? This shit right here. And what girls do is they walk fucking straight, man. Like their hip flexors are just amazing. But then I see girls that are not fit. They'll start walking like this. So the way someone walks in terms of it could be a tilt in the hip or the leg length or both or some other shit. If they're walking straight, it's like almost like a sign. It's like an honest signal of being fit, even. You know how loose or tight your shit is.
Or being balanced. Because what's happening with a lot of the tightness in the low back, it creates compression in and also the glutes. So it starts to turn on the external rotators. So that tightness lowers down into the pelvis, and then you have legs that don't want to rotate inwards.
Wow.
And then the knee is a hinge joint. You don't want to really have much range of it going any other way than forward and back in the sagittal plane. But if you're asking the knee to bend forward as you walk with turned out feet, you're really going to create some strain in the inner knee.
Totally.
That's this problem.
Oh my God, someone's about to come into the fucking show. Yes, sir!
What's up, guys? What's up? So, one thing that I wanted to bring up was we were talking about how this can very well affect athletes who have leg length inequalities, and because they're putting so much force when they're running or when they're jumping. I have a really good friend of mine, she's a basketball player, and she always wears socks. She'll never wear open shoes because she doesn't want anybody to see her feet, right? And so basically,
Why? It's like ugly feet.
yeah, it's like it's really bad. Like hers is like really like,
Someone watching might have a fetish for that.
That's true. And so, even for an athlete, right? And this is going to go back to what we were discussing earlier. They are losing power, right? And any elite athletes know that you only need that 10% more to take it to the next level, right? You increase by 10%.
That's like bronze versus gold.
Exactly. Yeah. It's only by that much, right? So even if an athlete is trying to get better and stronger, he's going to want to make sure that he doesn't have a leg length inequality and is also using, because then when you have an inequality, biomechanically you're not going to be moving correctly. And so that's when bunions are going to occur, knees get blown out. That's another thing, ACL tears. I'm pretty sure you're better with this, so if you want to tell them about the ACL tears, the hamstring tears, and all, like, there's just more and more injuries that
Well, just like we were talking with the turned out feet, asking your knee to bend sideways in a plane that it's not hinging properly is actually putting stress on the MCL. And so over time, that could be the breakdown. And then there would be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And that's
What is it that Travell called it? There was like the nasty something. Do you remember what that was? It was good though.
But we just call it the nasty.
The nasty. Yeah. It was like the MC. It was like a few things, but she had a really good, like, basically talks about like the things that just you see consistently,
breakdown.
the breakdown that you see consistently with these issues.